Hi Gemini, welcome to a tarot reading for the week beginning on the blue moon, which is a full moon on March 31st and covering the first week of April. It's Raina here. I don't do weekly tarot readings every week. I just kind of fit them in light of the rest of my schedule. I like a lot of variety, and I know that you do too, so I don't like to have to do the same thing every week, because actually, to me, it gets a little bit redundant. But, you know, sometimes it's fun just to do a weekly reading. And so where is the full moon falling in your house, in your chart? It's going to be in the 5th house, which has to do with romance. So, wow, if you're looking for love, you may realize that it's right under your nose, that maybe somebody that you consider a friend, and I could see a lot of Gemini people having platonic friends and really kind of just having fun, and then you realize this, why do I put that, you know, a love partner in a different category? I want the person that I end up with as a partner to be my best friend. So yeah, I think this person is. It's like a realization that can happen at a full moon. It can be you're dating somebody and maybe you learn something you didn't know about them, and then it's like you're done with them. Or you just take it to the next level. You say, okay, let's start planning a marriage, or whatever the next step. Let's move in together. Now I'm going to be paranoid about mentioning that, because somebody said, somebody from England, I don't think he'll be watching, but he said, that's provincial Americans are the ones that care about marriage and that social construct, or whatever I think it was a he said. And that's just because they're Americans and they're very provincial. There are other types of relationships. It's like, okay, whatever. All right, so I'm going to begin the reading. And this is general focus, just to remind you. But a lot of times it seems like I get love readings coming out, but it's not really. I just had one that seemed like it was more of a career reading, which is pretty good. I don't like it to be always the same thing. Okay. Oh, and another thing too is somebody remarked about this position and said, you know, whether it was upright or not, it's a challenge position, so I'm reading it, whatever the challenge position is. So sometimes the challenge position, or, you know, the interpretation of a card is more challenging in the upright position. It's not always in the reverse position. So, well, we'll get there eventually. The heart of the matter for this time period, first week in the month, new month of April, is the Queen of Pentacles. And this may be somebody on your mind, so it could be a mother or mother-in-law. If you have found out that you're pregnant, you may be thinking about, what are you going to do? Are you going to like quit your job and stay home? Because that's a very domestic kind of a card. The Queen of Pentacles is a wonderful card, really, because it's the ultimate card dealing with home matters. So enjoying a home that is beautiful, and having that sense of comfort, or it could be gardening, you know, and just anything that has to do with domestic bliss. And so there may be some reason why this is foremost in your mind, Gemini. This is not typically you. So it could be a person in your life, an older female who is an earth sign, who is helpful to you. Perhaps it's even a boss who is very like a female mentor or your actual boss who's a woman and is very connected to tangible goods. Maybe she owns a business, she's a bank manager, or something like that. But it's interesting because I can't help but think that this is personal. Because we have as the challenge card the King of Swords. So we got the King and the Queen. The King of Swords in reverse is a man who is very abusive verbally, probably. He's very manipulative, but there's a real coldness with this man where he says terrible things and he doesn't even care that he's saying them. And chances are, if he's saying these things, he's trying to get what he wants from somebody, or trying to, what he wants is power. So this could be like a narcissist. And he knows how to get inside people's heads. And if you're the Queen of Pentacles, I was going to say Taurus because I was thinking of Taurus. Gemini, you're in a different space because really you are one of the swords. So you should be vibing with this person, but they are using their words as a weapon. It's not something positive. Whatever they're doing to bring you down and keep you. So it could be like a situation at work where you're in charge. You have a certain authority, but there's this person above you, and that person's trying to kind of like get rid of you somehow. And he's doing it through a lot of verbal abuse. And when you're in that kind of a situation, you have to realize his motivation, because too many people, they buy into whatever the person is saying, because that person may be very good at finding your weaknesses. So they may comment on things that you really do need to work on. And if they have a position of authority, which this person would likely have if they're the king, they can abuse their power as well. But they can, kind of cloak it in trying to help you get better at your job, when really they're trying to make you feel a sense of self-doubt so that you're constantly questioning what is going on and whether or not whether or not you're worthy or capable. And you have to hold firm and not allow this person to get inside your head. The underlying reason for this, I'd really love to find out why I have these shadows all of a sudden. Let me see if this helps. Not really. It's weird. The reason for this happening is related to the star card. So, which actually connects with Aquarius. So maybe this was something based on the solar eclipse in Aquarius, which would have been I'm sure that's your 9th house. And that's dealing with the higher mind. So there may have been opportunities, maybe even travel opportunities that have been afforded you. But basically what I wanted to say is that for some reason you have had something that makes you feel a lot more positive in your life, and therefore maybe you were able to get a job where you had a position of authority. So maybe it was a better job, and maybe it's away from this person. And you were motivated to do it because that person was being so verbally abusive. But here's the thing. If that person had not done this, you would have likely stayed where you were, and you would have never increased your success, because even as the spiritual message, we have a card of success. And by the way, if there is some kind of a situation where you may be with somebody, in your personal life who is like the King of Swords, there's somebody else whether it's an Aquarius person or just anybody who might be a Leo, actually, because that's your opposite. That's your, I mean, not your opposite sign, but that is a compatible sign to you, Gemini. And Leos, the Six of Wands in the upper, the one I just showed you, is a card that I think is associated with Leo. But the other fire signs are Aries and Sagittarius, and all of them are compatible with you. And so you may have met somebody that really says good things to you, is a positive influence. And so this King of Swords person, you may be phasing out of your life. Even if you're married to this person, you may be like saying the marriage is over with. You may not have even asked for a divorce, but you know that that's coming down the pike. But the Six of Wands is also a card of success and actually enjoying the accolades or whatever is, you know, whatever is like being bestowed upon you in terms of any kind of honors or just admiration, positive strokes. That is something that is here for you. And I think as the spiritual message, Gemini, it's asking you, can you accept good things? You know, I mean, this is something that a lot of people do not understand, that it's not that easy. It's a lot easier to accept insults sometimes if you come from that background. It's a lot more uncomfortable to accept positive strokes. So if you've found a new relationship that gives you hope, that's not, you have to still, I don't know how to put this, but acclimate yourself to be able to accept good things coming to you, because people do push away those who are kind to them sometimes, and they actually gravitate towards the jerks. And in those situations, it's because they cannot accept that they are okay. They need to have somebody tell them that they're pieces of crap, because that's how they view themselves. And it's supremely uncomfortable to have positive things said about you, whether in the workplace or in your private life, if your story is all about your victimhood and how all your life you've been crapped on, you know what I mean? And actually, that can dissolve that story. And some people have a hard time letting go of things that have, you know, been painful, because it defines them in some way, and it just doesn't feel right. So, advice is the Four of Swords, which is kind of taking a breather and going within, maybe not being as social or talking as much on the phone, or if you text or email, and just kind of like keeping your own counsel, because you may have a decision to make and you may not be sure exactly how you want to handle this. If you have a job that maybe you've gotten an offer from an older woman, and she's the Queen of Pentacles, a job offer, and you're very happy about that, or maybe you're going to work from home, and but you haven't told the King of Swords yet, because you don't want to set him off until all your ducks are lined up, you know. What's coming in is represented by the Hangman. So this is kind of like a major arcana extension to that Four of Swords, where there's a period of passivity, of waiting, and you've done all that you can do, so you have to let go and let God and allow things to play out as they will, and not trying to force the universe's hand, so to speak. And the outcome is the King of Wands. So another fire energy. This could be your future boss, a dynamic leader who probably allows his employees to have a lot of freedom, but also praises them. Unlike the King of Swords, you know, he's warm. So he's going to be generous, maybe financially generous and generous with compliments. And maybe this is that Leo or that Sagittarius person, possibly an Aries, but fire sign energy that you end up with. All of these timelines are fluid. It's just like kind of a snapshot in time. So hopefully some of these cards made sense to you guys. If you'd like a private reading, and most of my private readings are involving your astrological chart, so it's kind of different. Well, it's a lot different because it's based on your particular exact time of birth. So check me out, rainamoonastrology.com. The link is below. Take care.